well, on this point, and I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is some of the worst propaganda I have seen in a long fucking time. We're about to react to this, and I don't think many people here have seen it. Has anybody seen this? Everything's gonna be all white from Showtime.
I watched
this.
This
Is fucking horrible, dude. Like this is some of the most horrible shit. Okay, you will see.
I kind of like the premise.
This is this is fucking terrible. Listen to this shit.
Damn it, Ryan.
I think what annoys me most about white people is when they pretend like they're the victim. What's also annoying is when they kill us.
What is
what?
Can you stop it real quick?
Yeah, that.
What?
That's weird. All right. Anyway, I'll say what I know Ryan's gonna say. All right. If you look at any sort of stats, obviously we know that when it comes to, I mean, really it's with every race, but in this context, black people, you're way more likely to get killed by a fucking another black person, in comparison to a white person, and the percentage isn't even fucking close. So it's kind of weird that that's where she went with that. That's a weird angle.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable,
especially in Chicago, dude.
This is shit that's been indoctrinated into them,
yes.
right? This is stories. This is fucking LeBron James saying my children are being hunted in the streets. That's this type of fucking propaganda.
Look at that ratio, by the way. Look at that ratio.
Wow.
Especially 30,000 downvotes.
Especially dropping that after the first one, where man, white people love to claim to be victims.
Yeah.
By the way,
that's a good point.
What?
Good point.
We're the real victims, not those white people. Yeah.
All right, let's listen to the rest of this trash.
No, when they kill us.
It gets worse.
What is fragile about whiteness when everything has been constructed around it?
Every part of who I am has been distorted or criminalized.
It's really
just
bullshit.
Oh.
I hate that bitch.
Is that was that Salsa?
I think it is. Yeah.
Hold up.
Distorted.
Oh, it is, bro.
Yep.
Oh my God! This fucking y'all could have stopped and ended it right there. This is part of this. Delegitimize this whole fucking thing.
She's one of the biggest haters in the world.
Yeah, this is so bad.
Criminalized.
It's really just a bunch of white lies.
We're storming the Capitol.
You knew this was going to have to be thrown into it. You knew this.
Surprised there's not an RK Outpost video over top.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, it is. We got a couple minutes.
30 seconds in. Just
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Patriots, you're ridiculous.
One of the definitions of American whiteness is ignorance.
White people, we are not your problem. You are.
Should white people today feel any responsibility for slavery?
Hell yeah.
White Jesus or black Jesus?
Jesus was not white. Think of geography. Ain't no way Jesus walked around with blonde hair and blue eyes.
White culture fears the end of the world. For us as Native people, the end of the world already happened like multiple times.
Yeah, we conquered you, Jesus.
Symbols and monuments. These are mementos.
Bun B, no, man, no, Bun, man, you guys, no, that ain't, no, man, that's H-Time, man, or fuck, what is it, Port Arthur? God damn it, Bun B, man.
These are mementos of racism.
Bring that statue down. Put up a TCBY yogurt or something. Everybody can get behind.
The truth has to be told about history.
We have to make sure that these stories are told from our perspective.
There's always hope. You know what I'm saying? We don't give up. It's about obliterating systemic and institutionalized racism.
Oh, there's a favorite term.
Yeah, it's a favorite. It's
a buzz term. It
NPC.
doesn't mean anything, but yeah.
It's NPC.
This is a wild place, y'all. It's a wild place. I know Harriet and Frederick be up there just like, what is they gonna do?
They're crazy.
I'm willing to bet money Frederick Douglass wouldn't have fucked with you. That's the fucking truth.
Never, of course. This is like that intersectional social justice bingo, you know.
Well, I bet you know what? I bet Harriet and Douglas would be upset. But not because of the reason she thinks, but because of what the status quo was back then, and how everyone does truly have equality now.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
bottom fucking
Holy
line, right?
shit.
And you're still sitting there like a victim bitch, fucking like complaining about literally everything that happens to you must be because of race. Like piece of dog shit like Brian Flores in the NFL, right? Like they would be upset about what's happening today, but it's not because of white people, it's because of black people like them.
Look at these comments, man. These comments are brutal. As a black man, this is frankly embarrassing. I have friends from all races and religious backgrounds. The creators of this can't seriously think that this is okay to talk about other human beings this way. No one should ever have to take blame for something they didn't do. The fact that this isn't a parody or even satire is truly appalling and kind of terrifying. I mean, this thing is getting absolutely destroyed.
That's what go back to that ratio. That's impressive. What is that?
Oh yeah,
I haven't. I don't
right
know.
there.
1.3 to
that's about as bad as I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
That's like a new Warriors level, right?
Yeah, that's about as bad as I've ever seen. Like on some real race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting what it fucking deserves.
Well, so I saw it from my phone, and on the phone, you can't see dislikes, so I have the extension on my computer, the Chrome extension. But so when I saw the video, I was like, this thing has 2 million views and 1,200 upvotes. I can't wait to see how bad the ratio is. And then, of course, like I said, you can't get away from a ratio, okay? Because all you got to do is, even if you can't see the dislike, just go to the comments. And when you see comments having more likes than the fucking video, that's a ratio. You're not going to get rid of this ratio. People will figure out how to do it. 13,000 comments, 14,000 going on. And it's more than the fucking likes it has. This is insane, but
I'm glad people are mocking and shaming it, because this is how you get rid of this type of shit. Like this shit should be mocked, shamed. Everybody that's a part of it should be laughed at, and they should feel ashamed of them fucking self for posting this fucking loser shit. The reason why my angle in terms of how we talk about like race and these groups of black people and their whole pathetic woe is me social justice bullshit. The reason why I've never I'm not fond of it is, and I would encourage people to watch my old video that why I don't support Black Lives Matter, is because it's like beta bitch bullshit where they essentially say that their world can't move unless white people change. And this is an argument for those, I hate to give people a fucking history lesson on this shit, but this is an argument that's been taking place certainly among black people. I can't speak for all these other, I know they like to think all POCs are the same fucking goddamn same. It's funny, they got Asian motherfuckers in it. I would encourage you to go see how some of these Asian goddamn countries feel about your black ass if you actually go over there and talk to them about it and what kind of shit they will call you.
Ask John Boyega about them Star Wars posters.
Exactly, like the fact that they put all of us together when hell, you depending on where you at or what you are, these motherfuckers will call you all kinds of shit. But on a serious note, this conversation has been happening within like black kind of culture about as long as it dates back. And you look at for example, like I think the first big one was like the Booker T. Washington versus like W.B. Du Bois kind of approach, where like what you think of in terms of black intellectualism or black modern, like what is just leftism essentially, and they become a mouthpiece, is the same fucking argument that a lot of like souls, like Thomas Sowell's, Walter E. Williams versus them. It's the same fucking argument where you have this other one set of black folks that's like, look, man, we need if we're gonna be great, we got to create for for ourselves instead of begging white people to accept us, embrace us, and all this shit. And unfortunately, so many of these, really every major black corporate fucking intellectual activist, that's their approach. It's, oh, woe is me, white folk are doing some shit, or I'm in an unfortunate situation because of some shit, some boogeyman white man around the corner and what it is they did, clinging on to a history that they never had a part of. So my issue with that is less about these guys taking shots at white people. It's more because it just reaffirms this beta bullshit where it's like, well, our world can't move unless they fucking change, and we gotta talk about them. Like, dude, if you actually had pride, and this is why all these folks that sit up there with their fist in the fucking air, they all full of shit, because they don't really even value themselves like they claim they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't look at these white folks like the way that they do. It's the same argument that Malcolm X would have in comparison to like the Martin Luther King Jr.'s of the world. Well, Malcolm X, one of the most misunderstood black leaders of all time, was more of like, well, shit. There's one great speech that I would encourage y'all to look at. He talks about it. He started off, he said, if white immigrants can move to this country and nickel and dime their way and you know, create their own businesses and all that. He said black people are not in a moral position to basically be begging for white people to integrate them or have them be a part of their kitchen and shit like that. This is an argument that's been happening for a very long time, and unfortunately, the W.B. Du Bois, talented 10th, black intellectualism was what fucking won, and it's just that. It's beta bullshit begging to be embraced and accepted by fucking white people, and I don't got fucking time for that. That's for losers.
You know what?
Talk to him, Ripper. I had to do it. The chat keeps saying it. The cat, he cooking y'all. He cooking y'all. I had to say it. The chat's been saying it.
In gaming.
Well, I would just like to say for all these white leftists that are talking about you want black representation, you want black voices elevated. Please have a conversation with Eric. Please have a conversation.
Y'all get invited to their functions. I ain't on front of Twitch right now for Black fucking History Month or all that shit. I ain't the one that get invited to those functions. They don't want to talk to fucking me.
That's because you critically think.
Yeah, because it ain't about blackness. It's about a certain fucking social political view.
You know, I'm going to use their logic right now for a little exercise. I'm gonna flop my burrito on the table and just come up with an exercise, right? I'm going to say right now to you, Jeremy, and to you, Ryan, that I absolutely despise you and that I hate you. And you might be asking why, and I'll say because of the Alamo. And you can be like, well, were you at the Alamo? Were you shooting the muskets or something? Was my grandfather at the Alamo? And I say no. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you're gonna see something as white as a blank piece of paper, just as your personality. And that's what's wrong with it, right? Because I wasn't part of the Alamo, and yes, a lot of Mexicans died at the Alamo, and a lot of white people died at the Alamo. But did you die at the Alamo, or did you personally injure me by the Alamo? And the answer is no.
Right.
We became friends because of the integrity of our character, not because of the history of our past or something. I did not give a shit whether you actually participated in, you know, all the things that Alabama people participate in. I never did. I found out later on, and I was like, hey, you do you. Your family gatherings must be super fun. But you do you. And you never care. You never cared the fact that I didn't even finish elementary school because I didn't know how to read or write. I only knew how to hunt chickens out in the wild. But the thing is that we became friends because of the integrity of our morale, because we just said, you know what? Let's forget about the rest and just look at the person that we have in front of us. And Jeremy and Ryan and every single one of you guys have done a lot of things for me. And just
I've
personally,
done nothing for you. Just letting you know.
Just take it, god damn it, just take it. Look, dude, I have no friends, and you actually said hi back today to me. That just took me out of my pit of depression for 1 second. So let me live it. But the point is that we are not looking at each other through the lens of what did your grandfather's grandfather did to my grandfather's uncle. You know, it's just like, what are you doing for me? Who are you? And I think at the end of the day, that's what you should care about. Like,
but that's the problem with this approach, is that, you know, you really do see the difference in just like our ethics, because they don't see you as an individual. You know what I mean? They see you as a race. They see you as a gender. They see you as a sexuality and all that. And I'm not saying that there aren't maybe common themes subculturally. What I'm saying is that every individual is an individual. So it's always fucking retarded for someone to try to make someone pay for the mistakes of what someone fucking did that's maybe part of their lineage that they had fucking nothing to do with. Yeah. And that's been the approach. And I think with this case, it's more of, well, definitely being a fucking victim is a very popular thing in today's day and age. And this is why it feels like, even though we were over this racial hump in America, it feels like we fucking since 2008 moved goddamn backwards the other way. Because this kind of became more of a social currency, this whole victimhood. And this is why everybody's pulling from the past again, even though I felt like in the 90s we were fucking over this shit. And then we were, at least for the most part, like there were really fringe people that were kind of those guys that would say the shit like what you hear really on mainstream now. Now we've moved the complete opposite way, and it feels like race relations in this country has got worse, and it always goes back to history and shit, which again, none of these motherfuckers were for the most part were ever alive for. And hell, let alone know their actual lineage. Hell, who knows? Their fucking parents or grandparents probably wasn't even slaves. They probably came in after the fucking fact. Like so many black people in this country certainly have, and being like, you know, second maybe generation or something like that. They never even fucking participated in any sort of slavery, or their lineage doesn't trace back to that. And it just sucks, man, because all it does is it robs people of their individualism, which is ultimately what this is about. And they want you to be of some sort of identity and be controlled by that, as opposed to your own fucking actions.
Right. They want you to be. They don't want you to be people, because people communicate with each other. Right now, you're talking people that you meet. You're not going to categorize them as, go, you're black, you're white, you're a burrito like Ivan. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to turn around and you're going to say, you're Mark, you're Ripa, you're Adam, you're Jeremy. And people can talk, but when you break people into categories, you can divide them. Keep them divided, they'll always be fighting, and you can do whatever the hell you want.
To be fair, I do talk to people like that once I get to know them. Like Ivan, when I first met him, like, oh, this is a nice guy, you know. And then he's saying, man. Then as soon as we became friends, it was like a lot of racial insults once we became friends.
Oh, I do remember. I think I even called you sir. Like the first day we met, I took him to a restaurant, like thinking, you know, oh, he deserves something nice, something good. And I actually thought of like, where can I take him that he's gonna eat nice and healthy? And later on, I found out that this fucker doesn't eat anything other than fried chicken.
Hamburgers. It's funny because that's the thing.
Hey, Jeremy would be black if he voted for Biden.